Yeah, that fuzzy
Yeah,
one is really, and it looks like moss.
I'm totally not a conspiracy theory person, but now I'm like, government experiments.
Oh boy.
That's a whole other discussion.
Oh gosh, I must have been really almost done with that book. I must have been, because I read all that stuff about the Australian stuff. So
Oh yeah.
There was one more chapter after that, The Changing Face of Cryptids.
okay, well, I didn't
Did I
read that one.
Did I miss a slide completely?
You did. You.
Were there
I had one
questions?
question. I had
Oh,
one
no.
question in there.
What
I'll
the
just ask it. It's fine. Do you think that if you are open to other more paranormal events like ghosts, UFOs, etc., that means that you are more open to the fact that cryptids exist? Does that have any correlation to each other, and does it matter? Because he went into in this chapter
Interesting.
about how it's people who are open to cryptids also believe in UFOs and aliens and ghosts and the paranormal. And I think to me, like, he is trying to put, like, to me, I don't think that they have any correlation whatsoever. Like, cryptozoology is about the study of animals that are not yet classified, pretty much. And I feel like him trying to put them in the same class as like ghosts and UFOs and aliens is basically trying to be like, hey, it's less credible. Like,
Yeah.
don't believe in it, whatever. Like, it's not a real thing. Like, and while I believe in ghosts and I believe in UFOs and aliens and stuff like that, I just feel like cryptozoology is more of the study of things that are here on this earth that are animals.
Right. That could potentially be actually studied and
Right.
yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think lumping them all the different things together does kind of, I guess, depending on your viewpoint, but it kind of dismisses what you believe. Like if you're believing in ghosts and you don't believe in cryptids, then lumping them together kind of makes you feel like, well, I'm not as taken as seriously. Or if you believe in cryptids and not
Right.
ghosts, then you're just not taken. And I think he meant to do that. It was a way he could, I don't know, bring it together. I don't know. I think if you have an open mind, I think you're more willing to look at the possibility of other things being out there. So I don't know.
It's a big world with lots to be discovered and explored.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, we don't even know how the brain works altogether. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting too, and I guess it doesn't help either that they're always the picture or the cartoon of the UFO beaming Sasquatch up.
Yep.
Like that's a really common one. I think, Mom, I agree. Like I think if a person has the mind to, accept the possibility of a cryptid, I think they would be more willing to accept the possibility of these other things as well. So I do think there is a correlation between people who do believe in all of those things, for sure. Because I mean, those are kind of in the same category of eyewitness, personal experiences, but no solid proof. Well,
and unknowns.
Solid proof
that's fair to
is
say that.
in quotations, but
Right.
But yeah, like they're all kind of in that same ambiguous category.
Fair.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really think about it like that, but that does make sense, yeah. I still think it's kind of weird that he kind of decided to
throw that in there
in like the last chapter and just be like, oh yeah, by the way.
You believe in
Yeah.
fairies.
Right, like
You believe in unicorns. Yeah.
It's the narwhal.
They actually saw a narwhal. Yeah. It wasn't a mermaid, it was a narwhal.
No, that was a dugong
Oh, yeah.
yep.
and manatee.
Oh my God. Actually, okay, so in the first, I think it was like the first chapter or the second chapter or something, they were talking about seeing something and they're like, but we're pretty sure it was just a whale penis.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cracked me up
That was-
so much.
Yeah, that
I
was
was just
funny.
like, you guys saying what you just said just reminded me of that. So.
Yeah. I have to say, like, at the point that I was starting to get a little tired of his debunking, I went to the reviews, and one person did say, like, some of his debunking things were as incredulous as the cryptid sightings themselves.
Yes.
Mhm.
And like the penis thing wasn't one of those, but it just reminded me of that. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't know. But I was thinking of the one where the lady saw something and he's like, but she must have seen like a pack of like
Deer jumping
yeah,
across
pack
the
of deer
road.
and seeing like
What?
she didn't, yeah, it was just like,
You
really?
know, you saw a
Like-
pack of deer. Like,
it got to the point where I was
Yeah.
like, well, what is he gonna say about this one?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's a very good point. There were some points in there where I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's just as bizarre as being like, yeah, no, this
Very
thing,
questionable proof.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Or ways to like
Yeah,
debunk
disprove,
the
yeah.
fact that
Yeah.
it was a thing. And it's like, well, your disproof is about on par with the proof.
Right,
So,
right. Not
so we
that-
do have
so
a couple
yeah,
more.
I just want to
oh,
say, like, not that that's bad. Like, it
No.
wasn't bad that he had those things. It was bad that he never evened it out. Like, he
Mhm.
never allowed himself
Right.
to explore that what if it was? I guess,
yeah.
it just, the lack of balance is what made it a lot frustrating.
Yeah. And
So it wasn't the
way
fact
it
that he
was
did
written.
that. It was, yeah.
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 Okay, well, there's a few extra like general book questions, things
Yeah.
that weren't necessarily tied to a particular chapter, but the whole thing or just general ideas. Are there any cryptids that you believe in, or have you ever thought you've seen one?
And why is there a date on that one?
I just threw
It was
that
just a
on there
read.
because it's a Polaroid.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it had hidden meaning.
No.
I was 5 years old and I saw.
Yeah.
You guys used to play in the woods, so
A lot.
I mean, we
And
did
you-
have a time rock, so
and
anything's
you could-
possible.
And that writing on the wood,
Oh,
on the
yeah.
branches.
We knew what the bugs were writing.
Yes.
oh, cool.
So obviously I believe in a Sasquatch. So that's my cryptid that I believe in. Whether I believe in others, like, I'm just trying to think of the ones that he's mentioned. I mean, that tiger thing. Did they disprove or prove that to be anything?
They said the photo was faked, but it sure looked like that Tasmanian tiger that is
Yeah.
extinct.
I mean, pretty much
So-
everything in the book he disproved
yeah.
one
But,
way
I
or
mean,
another.
like,
but
outside of him, if it.
I don't know for sure. I think there's a lot of question about where the photo actually came from and who actually took it, because I think they were saying that she might not have actually been the one that took it.
Mm.
So
I mean, that one seemed pretty believable. And like, if I lived in Australia and I had been like, it had been more in my realm of
Mhm.
like whatever, I would probably like, yeah, I believe that probably exists somewhere. But yeah, and then I guess some sort of sea creature, like ocean creature. I would believe that there's something in the ocean that we haven't discovered yet or hasn't been classified.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. I believe that there's some form of Bigfoot, whether it be the Yeti, the owl, or like I think that there's definitely a chance that is there somewhere.
Mhm.
And I think there's probably other ones too. Like people are not as observant as they think they are. So I think that there's definitely a chance that there's things that are able to hide well enough from, especially since now like people don't really, there's a lot of humanity that just sticks to the cities and doesn't go into the woods.
Right. Agreed.
What about you, Angie?
Yeah, I think there's probably things out there that haven't been discovered yet. I don't know. I mean, anything is possible, probably. I don't know about Bigfoot. I guess I haven't really like looked into it or read any of the encounters. So from where I'm coming from now, maybe not, but still interested in that government conspiracy theory. Fair. That seems the most probable to me for some reason. Like, it's a conspiracy theory, so like I'm not buying.
I'm a big fan of them too. So,
but that one seems possible.
Me too.
I think there was something in a Dean Koontz book with something similar to that happening. It was the one with the dog that could spell. So,
but yeah, outside of that, I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's big scary things in the ocean and weird stuff we haven't seen yet, but overall, I don't know if it's not cataloged somewhere. Probably not.
I guess then we'll go to like
fun to think
hoaxes.
about.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
Possibilities
It's
of
like,
it.
Right? Is it a hoax? I don't know about that, but I don't know.
Right. Like,
I'm not close to it, but I don't necessarily believe it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you don't look into a lot of them, like you may not have even ever heard of them.
Right.
Like the stories might seem incredulous, but then you read a different story and it's like, okay, well that makes a little bit more sense. Like it's a big rabbit hole to get down into.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's many threads in which it can go.
Yes.
So but if you ever want to get down a rabbit hole, just pick one of them and go, and you'll be in it for a while.
That is so true.
I prefer my rabbit hole to be weaving.
We gotta get your weaving machine out. What is it called?
A loom.
A loom.
I have my
See, the hands came out. I was struggling. I needed help.
Weaving.
But I do have my small tabletop one is still up. So, but the other one is in here. The floor loom is in here in pieces. So
we have to fix that.
Yes, we will after Christmas.
Oh,
anyway, let's get back on topic.
Other than the cryptids that we may or may not believe in, are there any creatures you wish that he would have gone into?
I guess the one that just came to mind when I was writing that was maybe Mothman. I'm trying to think if there are any other ones that really I can.
I feel like Mothman usually ends up less in the cryptid circle and more in the like alien.
Does it? Interesting.
Ghost kind of paranormal kind of things.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it does kind of cross over more over there. But I mean, to be fair, like honestly, he covered more. Like I didn't know some of these things existed or like were like cryptids. Like particularly the marsupial section. It was like I didn't know about any of those. So
I think that he definitely could have gone into more, but I feel like
for sure.
He was just hitting the specific ones that he knew that he could debunk.
Right, for sure. Yeah, and there was tons in the sea monster category. He had a lot more in the big realm than the the lesser known ones.
Right.
But yeah, also the rake, which I don't think he covered that. And there are some sightings that is a thing that people have seen, and some of them, it's just weird. It's a smaller category, but it's one I think he could have maybe thrown in the crypto humanoid section. So
And I don't know, did he touch on the chupacabra?
I don't think so, no.
He didn't at
Okay.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some well-known ones that he didn't really go into either, and I don't know if it's. I mean, obviously, it was a choice.
Oh,
so-
yeah.
Right.
What's the one that Rhinelander?
The hodag.
Oh yeah, the
Hodag.
hodag. I don't know anything about that one actually. I just remember
I
the
don't
little someone had like drawn a cool Wisconsin old-timey map thing and they threw the little hodag in that section. I was like, that's such a cool little like addition. But
Yeah, that's, I believe, definitely made up. It has been commercialized though, so, you know.
The whole festival.
Yeah,
oh,
Who
geez.
knows? Maybe it's not actually made up then. Maybe it's
not.
a cover-up. Maybe they
Maybe.
commercialized it to make it seem less real.
Oh,
Ooh.
that made me
There you
think
go.
of something for some reason, but the dog man too, which is kind of
Mm,
like
mhm.
that's
I'm not familiar with that one.
it's basically what you picture when you think of a werewolf. It's
Yeah.
there's
Okay.
actually one, the Beast of
Oh.
Bray Road is a Wisconsin sighting that's
Mhm.
fairly popular. It's famous down there. But yeah, people see this thing and it's when people see the dog man, it's a lot scarier than like when they see it, it's like they feel like evil, like pure evil from this thing. And unlike like comparing it to Sasquatch, like some people have like
Gentle.
it's not that Sasquatch are gentle and they're not, but it's like always Dogman is associated with like this like pure evilness, whereas like Sasquatch is like sometimes not, like
More
but
like
yeah.
they're defending their territory rather than
Right.
just this thing
Right.
wants to kill me.
Right. Yeah. It's just so that would have been, I guess that would be another one I would throw out there, is like that would have been interesting. Not that I want him to go into it. I guess it's like more that
No,
Right.
because he would have
Yeah.
just
I'm
tried to
interested in
debunk
it and I would like to read more about it.
Right. Which, I mean, that brings us to the last thing about hoaxes and like the author going into a lot, explaining how a lot of these could be hoaxed or whatever. And like, I don't know. Well, I could see a point. Like, I don't understand why someone necessarily would hoax sighting. Like, yeah, there's the potential that it could become famous and you'd get money or something, prestige among the community or whatever. But like, for the most part, I feel like that's not really the case. It's more you're likely to get ridiculed by normal society. Like, if you're really into this stuff, then you wouldn't want to present false information. Like, you'd want it to be as clean as possible so that way it's more
Right.
believable in the future.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys see a reason to
No.
really hoax? Like, we kind of went over that a little bit earlier, but
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I mean, before I really was open to the idea of cryptids, I was in the camp of thinking that it was a big hoax because, yeah, I mean, like, there's a whole, like the History Channel has, like, really, like,
Right? They're like
crazy, stupid, like,
ancient aliens. And
hey, now, don't be dissing on ancient aliens.
it's just like, and then, like, you know, you see Bigfoot stuff on there and it's like, this is so stupid. And, you know, and then you
present
just,
it in such a way where it's like,
yeah.
Over the top and almost
It's over the
comical
top
in a way.
and comical. And it's like, yeah, it was like, yeah, I just believed it was just either people getting people hoaxing, or just like people with nothing better to do, like coming up with this stuff. And it's like, but like now that like I have looked into it a little more and like heard more things, and I have gone down rabbit holes. And it's like, the more I have gone down these rabbit holes and looked into it actually, the more I'm like, you know, like some people are seeing things, whether, you know, like in the middle of nowhere, like there wouldn't be some random college student or whatever just waiting for, you know,
Someone
Some
to drive
random person
by.
to show up and
Yeah. Right.
let me get my suit on. I'm going to walk around in the woods in
Yeah.
a Bigfoot suit and hope someone
Right.
takes my picture. Yeah, I
Right.
don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know, but I did think that at one point, but yeah, like, and then people,
And I mean, there's been proof that some of these things have been hoaxes.
right.
And most of the time it's a joke.
Right. And you can definitely, like, and I mean, that's totally up to a person to believe something or not, like a video or a picture or whatever. It's like, yeah, some videos are like, that is way too blurry, or that is way too costumey. Like, I'm not going to believe that. But some of them are like, well, you know, but for me, it's the eyewitness accounts that are the most telling. I don't know. Those are the most interesting to me.
And I think that actually brings up a good point too, is like firsthand stories versus being told from secondhand accounts.
For sure. Yeah.
Like,
that makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Especially if you're like actually talking to the person who
yes,
it happened to. There's a lot of people that you can tell if they're lying or not. Sure, some people lie and they're amazing at it and you can't tell the difference, but a lot of times you can tell if people have like genuine fear,
Right.
like excitement or like whatever. Like, you can generally get kind of an idea of how they were feeling when they're retelling the story to you. Even if the details aren't 100% accurate, you can still tell like something happened to them.
Right. Or and especially if they're like, well, I'm not exactly sure what I saw. It could have been this, or it could have been that, but I think it was this other thing, you know? And then, you know, I think that really helps too.
I think that's also like a big thing with a lot of like stories and stuff like that, is like it's not I don't know what it was this or it was this. It was never like, I'm not really sure, because people want definitive answers.
Right.
Like, you'll very rarely hear well, I'm not really sure what I saw.
Actually, there's a whole,
but
a lot of the encounters that I've heard, like, people are like, I don't know what it was, but it's falling mostly into this category. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
there's always a but that goes along with it.
Oh yeah, because you gotta,
because your brain has to fill in the blanks and tell you where this fits in.
Yeah, like you have to, explain what you saw, and then but yeah, call it whatever you want. But yeah, it is interesting, but I don't know.
Well, that's all the questions we have for today.
Good. No.
So I guess that's what's left, is rating the book. Personal scale. I would rate it at about a 2.5. Kind of middle of the road. I think the biggest problem was it wasn't quite what I was expecting it to be. So therefore, I was already kind of on the fence as soon as I started reading, and I was like, oh. But the more I read it, the more I kind of was like, okay, I get what's going on. I'm opening my mind up to, and I think that there was some really valid points in there. And while it was a little one-sided, I think it was good to read something that kind of goes against how I personally believe about a lot of it. So the Gallimaufry scale, I'll put it at about a 3, because it was definitely much more on the opposite side of what I believe. So it made me think of things a little bit more differently.
And would you recommend this book to anyone?
Yeah, I think it wasn't. I personally didn't mind it. I think it did a good job of disproving some things. So, I mean, I think I would have someone who's really into like the cryptid world maybe read it to kind of give them a counter argument to their argument, as just kind of it's good to read and watch things that are of opposite opinions.
Most definitely. Yeah, I guess personal scale, I'm going to give it a 1, just because it did read like a college paper and just very one-sided. I don't know. It was just meh. Gallimaufry scale. I don't know. I mean, it didn't really, I would say it challenged me. So yeah, I guess I would give it a 3 because it challenged me to read such an averse opinion, an averse opinion that did everything in its nature to try and debunk something. Like that to me is like what's hard. Like, I don't know, like that was hard for me to read. I don't think I would recommend it. I would recommend other books before this one. Even books that, you know, even if I could find a book where they go out to disprove, or, you know, hopefully it would be more open-ended than that.
That's fair.
I'd probably find other books before this one to recommend, either someone who isn't open-minded to cryptids or someone who is. Yeah, it just wasn't very moving for me.
No.
That's fair. I like your point about you'd recommend other books. I think the biggest thing is I haven't really read many books on this.
No, I haven't
I don't
either.
really have any to be
Right,
like,
I
oh
don't
yeah,
have
instead
any
of this,
reference
I would
point.
read this. So
Yeah.
as of right now, I would be like, yeah, I would recommend it. But yeah, I get like if there's another book out there that's better. I mean, hey, link it in. If viewer out here has something that's a better read or whatever, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
At least 2 of us will probably give it some kind of read.
Well, I'm going to go next. On a personal taste scale, I'd say a 1. It just read like you said, like a term paper or footnotes.
Yeah, poor professors.
No,
they have to read this all the time.
Yes, it was just really, I mean, it was an interesting subject, and he made it the most boringest possible way to read about it. I just, yeah. On a Gallimaufry scale, I would give it a 3 because it did challenge me to look at things, and we had a good discussion about all of them. So
yeah, it was like a good reminder that, you know, it is possible. It is common sometimes that people are not seeing what they think they are seeing. Like, it's just a good reminder to have that. So
yeah. You know, and I, you know, I'm not pro or con. I just think, you know, a lot of things are possible, especially in the deep oceans and like Australia in the middle of the wilds and Amazon jungle. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of creatures that have not been discovered. Whether they're all humongous or not is up to someone else to decide. But I think we had a good discussion on it. Would I recommend this book? No. That's all I'm going to say is no. I've spent money on worse things, so I don't feel like it was a total waste of time. And we had a good discussion, but I would not recommend it to anyone.
Oh, yeah. Personal scale, I would say probably a 1 as well, just from the reading style. I guess maybe if I knew more what I was going into it, I would have a different outlook coming out of it. But yeah, it's not something that it's not my taste that I would pick up and read on a regular basis, I guess, the style.
Mm-hmm.
But the topic was interesting. And so for the Gallimaufry scale, I would give it a 3. You know, there were some creatures or cryptids, I guess, that I hadn't heard of or that I really hadn't thought about much. And I think it's all interesting. I think in some of the cases, the points that he made about maybe they are something that just local lore, they live by a different name in, you know, in scientific cataloging or something, you know, but there are a lot of things out there that haven't really been discovered yet. And so I think there's a lot of cool things out there as far as some of the popular ones, like, you know, Nessie and Bigfoot. I don't know, you know, I just don't know. So, but it got me thinking about it. And so, you know, maybe there's some rabbit holes to go down and some things to read about. But yeah, like, yeah, so I'll give it a 3. Would I recommend it? No, just for all the things that we already mentioned about,
Yeah.
like the author.
I mean, it did sound like it was going to be an interesting book to read.
And it was just very dry and like footnotey.
I don't think it got bad reviews either, really. Did it?
No, I looked at some of them and some were like, oh, this was like, meh, and then other people were like, this was the greatest book on the topic.
Like, I think on Goodreads it was at least like a 4-star, wasn't it?
Out of how many?
It was like a 5.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
so I mean, it was 3.5 to 4 on most of the places that I looked, so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to all review it and give it a 1 or 2.
Balance that out a little bit.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm glad I was able to buy this on iBooks for like $4.
Yeah, me too.
Nice. Nice.
I mean, and I feel bad because, you know, the author did put the time and energy into presenting it and
I don't feel bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I mean,
it
it's
wasn't
just not for everyone. I mean,
no.
that's
the topic was interesting enough.
It was an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for picking it.
To,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely. It was an experience for all of us.
Yes, like I said, the back of the book was the most interesting part, the best written part of the whole book.
It sounds like you've written your review, Mom.
Yes.
Right.
I think I have.
So our next book chooser was Melissa.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you the name of the book and read the back of the book.
Yeah, so I originally had the picture of the cover on here, but apparently the picture wanted to break on all of my slides. So we are going to be reading So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson. Looks like this. And I'm just going to read the back of the book quick. It says, shame is as old as humankind, but recently something has changed. Shame now moves at lightning speed and with devastating effects. For the past few years, Jon Ronson has traveled the world, meeting recipients of famous public shamings, often while their shamings are in full force. These are people who, say, made a joke on social media that came out badly. Once a transgression is revealed, collective outrage circles with the force of a hurricane, and the next thing they know, they're being torn apart for it, jeered at, demonized, and fired from their jobs. Jon Ronson's journey results in an entertaining and eye-opening book about public shaming and about shaming as a form of social control. It's a book about us, the shamers and the shamed. So You've Been Publicly Shamed is a powerful, funny, unique, and very humane dispatch from the front line in the escalating war on human nature and its flaws. Yeah, so that is what we will be reading next. I found this book blogger on YouTube. Her name is like Ariel something, but she highly recommended this book. She said that like she thinks that like it should be a reading in schools just because of like how often we're on social media now and just like I don't know. I just thought that was, she recommended it twice in 2 different videos, so I figured, you know, it'd be interesting to try it. So
it does sound interesting, and hopefully it's entertaining too.
Hopefully it's entertaining too.
You said the back of the book said it was entertaining.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it. That sounds good. And yeah, definitely a lot of visceral reactions on social media.
Yeah,
for sure.
Recently, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good perspectives. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you everyone for hanging out and for the discussion. It was great.
Yes.
If you read Hunting Monsters, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it? It like challenged you? What did you hope that we would discuss and didn't? Please comment with thoughts. Couple of cool things you want to bring to this channel eventually is at 100 subscribers, we're going to do a book giveaway.
It will not probably be the House of Leaves, though, unless you want it to be.
At 200 subscribers, we will randomly choose a viewer requested book. So when we get close to that point, we'll start asking you to leave comments and suggestions down in the comment section below.
Yeah.
So please join us reading So You've Been Publicly Shamed and join the discussion. Find us on the Twitters, the Twitters and the Instagram. My camera's like reversed, so.
Oh, it was perfect for mine.
So happy reading.
Yeah, happy reading.
Happy reading.
Happy
Thanks
reading.
for hanging out.
Yeah.